Good evening, everyone, and this is the 4's Hardcore Sports Talk Show. I'm Bernard Hall, and I have my co-host Ron Taylor here. This is a monumental day. It is not April Fool. We first want to congratulate Tiger Woods.
Yes,
The roar is back.
Yes,
The
sir.
roar is back. I can say it again. It's been a long time coming, but he made it through the minnow, and the roar is back. We have a special guest today here on April the 15th, Monday. Happy Monday. And God bless everyone, and God bless us for being here and waking up today to do our show. We're so excited. And I'm
So
going to pass
excited
it
for the
on
guest.
to my co-host, Ron Taylor.
What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Welcome to the 4's. We have a really special guest. Very excited. This guy here, his resume is just incredible. We can sit here and we can tell you his resume, but you know what? I'd rather he do it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
right.
he could tell us exactly everything that he's done and everything that he's doing. And so right now, with further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Lamont Simpson to the 4's.
Welcome, Lamont, and he is my alumni brother, Henry Ford Trojan. Go ahead, Lamont.
Thank you, you guys. Pleasure being with you guys. A local guy here, born and raised in Detroit, and really enjoyed from what I see as far as coming up and being involved with the city and playing sports. Currently now officiating both college basketball and college football. This started basically from the bottom and worked my way up through whether it's from the CYO, PAL, and to the small college, and through the pro ranks, working the couple NBA lockouts, 17 seasons in the WNBA, and currently working on the men's side, Division I basketball in several conferences. Main two conferences, the Big Ten and ACC. Yep. So 17, like I said, overall Division I, 27 years.
Wow.
Yep.
That's incredible. What we're going to do, though, in a minute, we're going to have, we want to open the lines up for everybody because I know that there's a lot of people out there that's going to want to ask questions about basketball, what, situations that happen. People want to know what's really a foul and what's, I need you to explain everything, what you guys look for. Is it a judgment call or just is it something that they tell you to look for, and once you see it, it's like, boom, there it is, okay, foul. So I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot of people that's going to call in and ask that. What about you, Bernard?
And right off the back, Lamont, everybody wants to know about the NCAA this year. There was a bunch of so-called phantom calls, but only a real athlete, if you've been through it, know whether this call should be made or not. Whether it's 2 seconds left or 0.3 seconds, if it's a foul, it's a foul and it must be called. You can't go talking about what about the traveling or the double dribble or what about the hit. You can always talk about what could have been and what should have been.
Right.
Make a play. And the old rule is play defense because anybody can make a shot. So, Lamont, right off the bat, tell us about the game where the guy's shooting the three from the corner. They run the good play, and he fouled him. Was he underneath him, and was it a foul? I know it was, but I want to hear it from you. Just a celebrated, I'm talking about a veteran official and just a great guy. His ego not going to bother him because the player said something wrong.
That's right.
If he call a tech on you, he calling it because it's the sport of the game. He's not no guy that's going to be calling a foul on you or anything like that, or throw a flag on you in the other sport because he don't like you. So elaborate.
I would say the first thing as an official, you have to separate yourself from the game. You are not a fan.
Okay.
You're there to be objective for both teams, and you are there to do your best in making the right call at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
That play at the end of the game where the kid was fouled on a 3-point shot, that's clearly a foul. That's a foul in the beginning of the game, and it's a foul at the end of the game. The one thing in basketball is you want to protect the shooters.
Right.
And if a shooter is going up and you have a person coming into the shooter and not allowing them to land, if there's 10 minutes in the game, if there's 6 seconds in the game, if there's 2 seconds in the game, you have to make that call.
Because he got to give him space, correct?
You got to hit him on the shot. It doesn't take much for much contact to affect the shooter on their shot. If a shooter is up, if I can just give him a little poke on the elbow, that ball will come up 3 feet short. And you'll say, people might not even see that. But, and you run a replay, oh, damn, he just tapped him on the arm. But you know what? And the ball came up 3 foot. It can cause that. In a situation where they have to land, when you're underneath a shooter, if you don't give them the opportunity to land, they shoot, they somehow torque their body, they're going to miss the shot or possibly get injured when they come down because they're not able to land properly. They might turn their ankle. If you see that a lot on rebounds where a guy goes up for a rebound and they're not able to land properly because maybe someone is underneath them, and what do? Land on their feet. They roll their ankle.
Right.
If you remember the Michigan State player, what
Yes.
did he do?
The
got
big
seriously,
man. Yeah.
he seriously hurt because he landed on somebody's foot and he turned his ankle. He wasn't able to play in the NCAA tournament. Those things. So you have to protect shooters. I would probably say that you might not even gotten to that point if the double dribble was called prior to that.
So it was double dribble.
But it was a double dribble that you really don't see as an official.
Right.
You said, the pressures, you have pressure coming up the court. The kid reaches for the ball. I was watching the game, and I pretty much thought that he had deflected the ball, and then the kid went and got it and started dribbling. It wasn't until I saw the replay then I'm going to say, oh, he didn't touch that ball.
It went off the heel of his foot.
And he picked it up, and then he picked it up. Myself, that's double dribble. But like I said, only an official would see that. Okay. And it wasn't discussed during the game. It wasn't brought up until after the game. Now, like I said, watching the game, like I said, once I saw the replay, I was able to say myself that was double dribble.
In real time, before you even saw the replay.
But I saw the replay. Now, I didn't see it. I could in real time. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think it was. I didn't know that because I thought he had deflected the ball.
Okay.
But then I rolled. As an official, I watch the games from the official standpoint.
Right.
So sometimes I'll roll it back, right. And I'm like, oh, he didn't touch the ball. Now he says the double dribble. He got. If you notice, his hand was a little on the jersey. So in that case, there was two fouls to give. Mm-hmm. Probably if he calls the foul, then
it don't even get to that.
It doesn't even get to the double dribble. So those are just things at the end of the game. I think the number one thing especially at the end of the game, you want to be right.
Right.
You don't want to leave the arena saying, I missed this, or God, I could have did this better. Those type of things. You want to be right. My terminology is high certainty. At the end of the game, you need high certainty. It has to be highly certain that whatever you call is there. And occasionally you're gonna miss. You will miss something.
What about the case in the kid from Duke? Was it Zion?
Zion Williams.
How about when he jumps into these guys and they're just standing in position? Mm-hmm. Why does he get the benefit of the call? I see that often, and I just can't understand it. He's jumping into the guy.
Well, you have to look at what happens on that type of play. The defender will jump. He'll go straight up. And he'll have his arms in the air.
Right.
When you have a player of the size of Zion, once he jumps into your body's going to bend in, your arms are going to come down, and it's going to look like a foul. So you have to really say to yourself, and really pick up the contact there. what caused this. I think you will see that in most cases, that's not a foul. But in most cases, in a lot of cases, when you get that type of contact, he jumps into you so strong, so big, so strong, you'll end up being straight up. And when he hits you, when his body hits yours, you will bend over, your arms will come down, and you're going to make contact with him. So the key, the start of that is, the way you referee that play is, you referee the defense, and then you, as long as you know, say to yourself, the defense did not cause that contact, you need to try to let that go. That's how you referee that play.
So real quick, Lamont, I like what you said, and it was very, very monumental when you say you watch a game, you watch it to be objective as an official, other than being subjective, correct?
That's correct. It's like some people say, I hate watching a game with you because you're right. You were right.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll say,
I get the same thing.
It's like we'll watch a game, and you'll be at my house or we'll be somewhere watching a game, and they get to complaining about an official, and then I'm like, well, I'll tell them what happened on the play, and then when they see the replay, they are like, you're right again. Okay. So, what, like you said, and overall, like you said, I mean, referees at a high level, they really, really do a great job. There's a lot of video that you watch. Every game.
That's what I wanted to
every
hear
game,
about.
Every game is taped. You get a copy of the game. It used to be where they used to give it to you on a DVD. Now you just you give them your iPad, and the game is downloaded on your iPad before you even get dressed and out of the locker room. You have the tape of the game, and then, seriously, everyone watches videotape, and they will watch it. And the only way you get better by watching tape. Most referees will understand that if they miss a call, they're probably going to not miss that call again the rest of the season, because once they see it on tape, they're not going to miss that call. That's what officiating is. Officiating is recall. I can remember a play from 2 or 3 years ago. If I see that play again today,
Absolutely.
I would call it that way.
Wow.
That's how it is.
And that's very, very good information, Lamont. Real quick, this is the 4's Hardcore Sports Talk Show. We have an open line, 248-579-5260. We are in Studio 3 for those who are listening and who want to download. Go to your app store, download Podcast Detroit, and look at Studio number 3. We are in a official studio. We are excited. We have Lamont Simpson here. He is giving us very good information. And our next question to ask Lamont, we're going right on back into it, is, Lamont, give everybody the understanding that, because I was football and basketball, and I played baseball too, but I went to the next level in football and some in basketball. Explain to them as an official, just like the players get graded, the officials get graded. And the top officials are the ones who get the playoff games or the NBA championship or the NCAA championship or the Final Four or the Sweet 16 and all of that. Can you elaborate on that, Lamont?
That is correct. At all levels, when you get to the championships games in any level, whether it's high school, college, pros, you are evaluated throughout the regular season. And based on your ratings from your games worked during the regular season, that's how you selected to work, whether it's the NBA playoffs, the high school playoffs, the Big Ten conference tournaments, and then on to the NCAA. And for that point is, like you said, they'll take normally for, I would say, like for a conference such as the Big Ten, they'll probably take the top 12 to 14 top-rated officials from that season, and they'll work the conference tournament. From there, you are evaluated from each game once you get into the tournament. And if you have a good game, the first game, you're moved on to the next round, and then you're on to the quarterfinal round, and then to the semifinal round, and then final to the championship. As you get towards the end of tournaments, you have to realize you might be just as good as the competition is it gets greater. I mean, it's basically everyone's there is capable of working that championship game. As a referee, you want to work the championship game, but you also have to understand that the guy who you just maybe worked with the day before or they might have worked another game, they're just as good. We have probably, say on the weekend, say of a tournament, you have 2 semifinal games, a championship game. All games have 3 officials, and then there's an alternate. So out of those, so that's 10 people. Guarantee you, out of all 10 of them, all 10 are capable of working a championship game. Wow. It's just a matter of how things work out that time. Sometimes you don't, it's like it would be simple. It's like if you have a situation in a game, then maybe it might not be a good idea that you work the next day, even though you might see the same team.
Right.
You know what? And that's fine. But you say, because you know what, things will happen where you say, you know what, it's not good to put, this particular person on a game the next day. That's still okay. Same thing with the NCAA. They select 96 officials are selected to the NCAA tournament. Then you kind of work your way through. You have a good weekend. First weekend, you work 2 games. You wait for email on Monday to say that you've moved on to the next round, and that's how it goes. Finally, you get from next round, and then by the time you get from 96 officials down to the regionals where they select 32, and then you go to Elite 8, then the Final 4. Where again, when you get to the Final 4, only 10 officials are going to be selected. So. How do you know if you're going to be one of those 10? You don't know. So, but like you said, you just work hard and do your best, and you can control the things you control. Only thing I control is knowing the rules and refereeing the game the best I can do. Right. That's it. Like I said, I'm not the one making that selection. So if I don't, then I'm good with that.
What I did want to know this because I didn't know. Say that there's a tournament. Say like. The playoffs have started, and say the Bulls are playing Minnesota, and the Pistons are playing Indiana, and they have a referee from Chicago, and then they have yourself. Do they send you to Chicago and send the guy from Chicago to Detroit to do the games, or do they just say, you know what, we're going to trust that this guy's going to do the right thing? And
they put the best. They don't take into consideration where you live.
Okay.
They put the crews together. They feel is best for that game, and that's going to do the best job. Because you know what, everybody has to live somewhere.
That's a fact.
So it's like, if a guy works in Detroit, lives in Detroit, he's gonna work a Detroit game, Chicago, wherever. The reason they can do that is, I'm telling you what, the thing that the referee has, and they'll never ever give that up, is their integrity. Right. There is nothing that you can do to question my integrity. So when I might live in Detroit, but and I might see Michigan State, U of D, Oakland. Guess what? When I go on the floor, right, I don't care who it is. I'm here for both teams. Right. That's my job.
Absolutely.
I remember it was people years ago. It was people mad at you for the Cheryl Ford call. Remember the Cheryl?
Yeah, for the WNBA game.
WNBA finals.
Right. It really was.
Got into it with some people because of that. I said, hey, that's my man.
I did too, man.
I said, he a great guy. What you talking about?
Like you said, and like you said, I mean, I live in Detroit, and it's the WNBA finals, and you're absolutely right. I mean, I got a few friends that don't want to recount. Man, this. I was like, look, hey, my supervisor said it was the correct call. That's all it takes.
And it's funny. And Lamont, tell them it's funny because his people probably still mad at you.
Yeah.
I got people from high school that never beat me, and they still mad at me. I had a guy just break out. He's like, Bernard Hall, I never liked you anyway. I said, wow, you've been holding on to that for 30 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And I just cracked
all of us,
up.
30 years, we still got gray hairs.
Still
We still mad about it.
Absolutely.
Exactly. exactly.
And the bill's made, and ain't nobody hungry to the first. You know what I mean?
It's all about, like, look, it comes down to integrity. And you got to live somewhere. But when it comes game time, it's game time. It's all business.
Once again, everybody, this is the 4's. We have in studio, we're talking to WNBA and NCAA ref Lamont Simpson. We're going to open the lines up. We're in Studio 3. You can hit us at 248-579-5260. That is 248-579-5260.
Now, moving on, Lamont, this is the other question, and this is really, really big. We are all three of us are from DPS. And we are all proud of DPS and just the state of Michigan. I root for everybody.
Right.
You know, everybody know different teams and different schools. Tell us about just what happened in high school basketball from your officiating experience. What's going on? What is your take on AAU? What has happened? Where did we drop the ball at? Because I see some things that I don't like, and there's some really, really good brothers coaching or really good people putting their time in.
I would probably say from back when I was officiating in high school that it was a passion for a lot of officials to want to get better and to possibly move up to the next level. It started to, and then all of a sudden, as the trends changed, it's sort of like you register, and for some reason, a lot of officials, you just wouldn't get those officials that, wanted to put this work in. It's work.
Yes.
I mean, it's like you have to, when I was officiating, on my off days, I would go to a game and just watch the officials.
Yeah, we would see each other at games.
Right.
Yeah.
I would go to whether it was a high school game, a college game, or a pro game.
Right.
That's what I would do.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like, so I think the key is now, if you want to get into officiating, you have to register and you have to put the work in.
And it's a formidable position. So real quick, we're going to take a caller. Thank everyone for being patient. Whoever just called back. Let's go. The line is open, and we have a caller. Dave, let us know.
What's your name and
What's your
where
question?
where you're from and what's your question?
My name is Vic, and I'm from Detroit. And I had a question for Lamont. Do you think refs should be fined or penalized for missing calls?
Oh, good question.
Behind closed doors, most of the those things are dealt with. In most cases, that won't really hit the media or understand how referees are disciplined or dealt with regarding calls. But there's a way. They don't just say, all right, that you missed a call, that's fine. It's dealt with. I mean, and first thing first.
I'm not just alluding to just like regular season calls or nothing. I'm talking about like game momentum or serious shifting. Since we're in the NBA playoff now, serious shifting. Calls that can determine whether or not a team win or loses ultimately.
Well, or even go back to the one that everybody still harps on here. The Detroit Tigers. Pitcher's got a no-hitter going,
right.
Blown call at first base, ruins his no-hitter.
That in a situation like that, and first, the official on whoever is the first person to know that they've really messed this call up. And if you remember that situation in the Detroit Tiger game, what did the umpire do? He apologized to the pitcher.
That was the reason why video came out, right?
And so
replay.
And so there, if in that case he realized he made a mistake, how Major League Baseball handled that, I don't know. But like I said, there's ways that quietly, guys miss games. If the one thing that you it's judgment. Sometimes you want to, you might say, hey, that wasn't the best possible call. It won't cause you to miss a game. The one thing that will cause you to miss a game or get fined, because you do get fined, is when you misapply a rule. That's the number one thing.
Okay.
The one thing that they don't want you to do is not get the rules right.
Oh.
So everyone has judgments. Here's the deal. Overall, when you break down the tape from a basketball game and all your calls are evaluated, the referees have pretty much right around a 94% correct call percentage.
Okay.
If you got 94 on a test in high school, college, or whatever, you would be real happy with that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so then let's go to now.
But it's
Now, if you go,
But
let me finish one question. Now, if I go to the stats, and what was the shooting percentage for the team? 42%, 36%, 25 turnovers. Then sometimes, like you said, so which one are you going to take? You're going to take 94% or 36% shooting. And that's kind of like how it is. You don't.
Okay.
And like you said, so I take myself out of the game. Like you said, and you will see this. Like you said, after when you get to the NBA and high level Division I, those type of things. Yes, you're right. You're gonna miss a call here and there, but you don't. Like as we were talking earlier, the key is you want to be really, really good, especially at the end of the game. Right. And like you said, what happens in the first half, you miss a call, really doesn't affect the game. I would probably say in a college game, my goal is to be really good the last 8 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Can't miss calls at the 8 minutes.
That's right.
8 minutes. Of the
Crunch
game.
time.
Right.
It's crunch time. So
yeah, I agree with that one.
yeah.
Does that answer your question, Vic?
Yes, it does.
All
yes,
right.
it does.
Thanks for the call.
All right.
right.
Vic, thanks, brother.
Again, this is the Hardcore Sports Talk Show, the 4's, and the line is open. We just took a really, really good question. Lamont, very good answer, very profound, very professional. My question is, what about the officiating, like I'm going to go back in the day where Charles Barkley had a thing with this one official, and he said he had it in for him, and him and this guy would just literally get in shouting matches. I know it's come a long way now, and they do something about that, or the guy might not officiate that game where he's playing. And then also, this is a two-part question. The next one is, everybody was so happy that the Boston Garden was going, because the myth was Red Auerbach told the officials, if you don't officiate right for us, you'll never officiate another game here at the Garden.
Well, it's like, but that's like you said, that's clearly a myth.
Right. I think it was too.
They don't get to. They don't get
to it
who's
like
gonna
that.
referee the game. That's strictly.
Oh man, they had that going around heavy all around the country. They said Red would come in there blowing cigar smoke and say, "You want to keep your career?"
No, they don't. They at no level does the coaches or general managers, athletic directors. They don't get to say.
They don't get to see
who's officiating the games. I mean, like you said, it would be smart if there was a situation a week ago, 2 weeks ago. If you're going to see that team, maybe within the next couple of weeks, there's ways to do switching around, that kind of things, and but nobody can say. I don't want to see Lamont Simpson on my games. That's,
right. No, you can't do that.
You can't do that. As far as players, and I think the one thing that has changed from back in the day to now is communication. They're asking you, both of you, to have some more back and forth communication, positive communication, to cut down on the technical fouls and the ejections and all those things. You don't really see players in college getting ejected for verbal confrontations with officials, and it's rare that you see a college coach getting ejected for. I mean, it happens, but that's the heat of it, and that's just the heat of the moment part of the game.
Well, in college, I think they hold the school holds the coaches and the players to a higher level, and I know our coaches used to tell us, hey, if you do something that to make this school, you remember the school is bigger than Bernard Hall, or it's bigger than Ron Taylor, or bigger than Lamont Simpson. So you just remember that we have a monster to feed, and you're not in the you're not in that picture if it goes down to it. So we knew if you do something or get a tech or get a personal foul, 15-yard penalty or anything, you knew it was going to be some consequences and repercussion. It's different in the NBA because you playing for millions and millions of dollars. So just like last night with the big fella for the Pistons, and he pushed Antetokounmpo, and they threw him out the game. A lot of people saying that's weak because the bad boy Pistons used to foul harder than that. But you got these $100 million and $300 million players that you have to protect now. And if they feel like it was excessive, that's why they got a flagrant 1, 2, or 3 and all that stuff.
Like I said, and I didn't see the game last night, but I think the way I didn't miss anything.
No.
But
the way they're going fishing.
But the way
quick.
I would probably like say the way the whole game has changed. I think more or less they want it to be a game where you put in entertainment and people come to see the fans. The fans come to see the player. They didn't come to see the referees and confrontation with the players, with the coaches. If you can get, as an official, if I can get out of a game and somebody say don't realize that I've been there,
that's what I was gonna say.
That's the best compliment to me that I could get. I mean, there was a day. I had just refereed a college game, and my wife and I went out to dinner after the game, and there was a couple sitting next to us, and they were just talking about the game, if this and that, and that, and then they was like, so they started talking to me and my wife. It was a great game, and we lost this and that. My wife says, "Well, how was the officials?" The lady said, "Oh, the officials are fine. They didn't do." They had nothing to do with the game. We just lost, that type of thing. So, I mean, and I'm sitting right there, and the lady didn't even know who I was.
See, that was what I was going to say. Fun. To me, a perfectly official game is, I can see you, like I've seen you ref before, and the only time I see you is when they introduce you at the beginning of the game.
Right.
They introduce. Other than that, I don't even see you. To me, that's a perfectly officiated game.
That's it. I mean, no one, like I said, that's every day, every game, that's my whole objective, is to get in there and do the best I can and not to make myself part of the game. The communication. I think it's the communication with the coaches. If a coach when a coach asks a question about whether it's a play or whatever, try to do my best to explain what it is, why it was a foul, why it wasn't a foul, whatever it is, and we do it both respectively. And I can't tell you the last time I've had a technical foul on a coach or a player. It's been that long,
Wow. I was going to say something funny, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, man. Didn't you throw Michael Jordan out of a game one time?
No.
Yes, you did.
That was Anthony Mason.
Oh yeah, right.
That was back during. That was during the NBA lockout.
The lockout. That's exactly right. I remember that.
Yeah, I thought it was Michael Jordan.
It was Mason.
And then, and when the coach, I think it was Pat Riley at the time coaching the Knicks. And he asked me what he said, and he said you were supposed to throw him out.
Oh yeah.
So he had no problem with it whatsoever. So it's you remember those.
Oh yeah.
You remember
Absolutely.
those. It's funny that that particular game is back when that was the year Michael Jordan had Space Jam. Okay. And they took some clips from that game, and that's when they came and got Patrick Ewing and
and had the guys in there.
and Charles Barkley and those guys.
John Starks.
And
and
so
all those
they
guys.
took him from that game, and then there was some clips from that game on there. So I ain't
Okay.
getting no royalties from it, but yeah.
Wait a minute,
I got about 10 seconds of.
Did you?
Yeah, in the movie.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And they didn't pay you for that?
No.
You got to file an injunction.
No. That's my claim to fame when it comes to Michael Jordan.
There
I
you
was
go.
in
That's
Space
right.
Jam.
You was part of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Again, everybody, we're excited to be here. This is the 4's Hardcore Sports Talk Show. We're in studio number 3 for those who want to download and listen in. We have the line open, 248-579-5260. We're going to move on to the next part and the next form of this. And we have a caller.
Caller, what's your name and where you from? And go ahead with your question.
My name's Justin. Detroit. Calling in, I had a question for Lamont. You know, you got all these physical athletes out here now, people jumping above the rim, jumping out of the gym, see the LeBron Jameses. And then you get players like James Harden that's just nifty with the ball. Who's the hardest person you have to officiate, and how do you go about officiating somebody like a James Harden who lives at the line and stuff like that?
Great question.
Great
Great
question.
question.
There.
And the step back 3, which is travel, I think.
That's a really great question. Well, the first thing is when you have to really, really watch a lot of tape, and when it comes to understanding the physicality of the game, and you have to referee the games according to the guidelines of what that particular league wants. And in our book, in our rule book, in our manual, it says physicality, and it gives you the guidelines. So the one thing you want to look at is, have any of those guidelines been affected? The number one thing what you're looking for is, and we call it RSBQ, and RSBQ means rhythm, speed, balance, and quickness. So if any of those things are affected in a play, then it's a foul. So, but you have to have a feel for, how much do you let go? How much there's a communication with players. You might say, hey, early in the game, I'm going to let you do this, but I'm not going to let you do that. So, and because the one thing is you want the best players, you want your players to be in the game. Mm-hmm. It's just like anything. When you're watching a game, there's a reason why guys are starters, because they're the best players in the game. So they don't, the more, then when you start going down to the bench, the level of the game has tendency to go down. Say, for instance, your best player just went out, and then what? You go, next thing you know, you go 4, 5, 6 minutes without points, right? Because you just lost your best player. You want your best player in the game. So we have to officiate to the point where I'm going to let you do this, and I communicate with them. I tell them, hey, you can do this and that, but you can't do this and do that. And they adjust. Players, the better players are and the higher level of sports you go, you can tell them, and they adjust just like that. So that's how we officiate the game. Guy like like you said, guy like Harden, quickness. Guys are quick. I remember going from you go from one level, high school to college to pro. You realize that a guy in the NBA can almost get down the court in 2 dribbles, 2 or 3 dribbles.
For real.
That's fast.
Yeah.
So it's like so the level and all those things pick up. So you have to actually pick up your game as well. So it's something that that it's kind of funny. Like say you hear all these things from out of the stands. Ref this and that. You can't come out of the stands and do what I do. That's just just my line. You can watch it. You can say I can do this and do that. I go to camps and as a clinician and help new people to improve those things. And trust me, like I said, it's you go and you referee these games and then you see the level of and the strength and the speed and the power of these guys. You have to really pick your game up and really have to be good at what you do in order to do it. And how do you do it? By watching a lot of tape, and working out. My job is I have a job to referee a game, and my day job is to make sure that I'm at the gym and in shape to be able to do it. Yeah. So that's how you do it. So
does that answer your question?
Yeah, man. Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate you calling.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you for calling in.
Hey, we need some young officials though.
Absolutely. For everyone out there, this is a very respectful, formidable job if you're willing to work. And I'm looking over here at Lamont. Lamont's in great shape.
Yeah,
he
he
looks
is.
like he can still do it. So, you have to stay in shape. It's a way of life. But we're moving into this next forum of questioning. And again, the lines are open, 248-579-5260. And for those who want to get in and listen, studio number 3, we want to congratulate Michigan and Michigan State on their NCAA runs. Very good for what you had to work with this year, but I want to get into Coach Izzo, Lamont, because we had the newspaper full and we had all kind of fussing and crying all over the country about Coach Izzo hollering at this player. And being athletes, all three of us, I know we all understand, but I want them to hear it from a high-level athlete as myself and from an official or like yourself, and let everybody know that that's warranted, because when you spend all that time practicing, all that chalk talk and classroom film and getting ready, and you get in the game and you brain lock or you disappear for 5 minutes, or in Coach Izzo's case, he was correct for doing it because the kid walked back on defense. Mm-hmm. So what is your take on that, Lamont?
My take is the coaches coach their players, and as a referee, I really don't have anything to do with it.
Right.
And I for in all due respect, and to Coach Izzo, I'm gonna just say this: I think he is an outstanding coach and an outstanding person. He might look like he chewing your butt on the sideline or whatever, but you know what? You can communicate with him. He'll understand. You understand his point. He understands your point, and we move on. So, and like I said, not one time has I ever felt that he was getting all over me to the point where, that it was something that I was being disrespected or
absolutely
ever. So
absolutely.
And so, like you said, like you said, it is probably different today than back when we were playing. And our coaches used to yell at us, hit us upside the head or whatever, and we just and the next play we go and make the best tackle in the world.
Or run through a wall. We'll run through a wall for them.
Some people can take hard coaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some people can't.
Right.
You have to know that person or that player.
Yeah. No, like I said, hey, what I hear and what I see from a coach's perspective is, I just look like this. They're coaching. They're with those guys. I don't know, more than the parents are.
More than with their families, absolutely.
So, and I would probably say, if years from now, those players will probably say, okay, that's what coach was trying to teach me.
And I said that for a reason. Yes.
And you might not get it today, but I guarantee they'll get it tomorrow.
And I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you let it be known that you're official and you're so concentrating on calling the game that you don't pay attention to that. But I wanted to bring that up about Coach Izzo because he has a player, and the kid played for him for 4 years, and right now he's not even doing anything that's in basketball. He's like the director of 4's Tee for the state of Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And he was on a show, and he was on the radio and in the paper, and he said, don't nobody care about that he played for Michigan State. They just want to know how was it to play for Coach Izzo.
Right.
And he said it was 4 years of the most just mental, physical, disciplined time that he ever had in his life. And he said if it wouldn't have been for Coach Izzo hollering at him and doing the things that he needed to do to discipline him, he wouldn't be able to be in the place that he is now. So he said he wanted to tell everybody and all of the parents that kids in college coming, some need that so that they can get it. So they can snap in. That's why you do practice, and that's why you have meetings, and that's why you do film and chalk talk and walkthroughs and all these different things so it can snap in. And the teams that you might not be the better team, but the team that can execute and they can function under pressure and think is going to win the game. It ain't always the team that's in the best shape. So just wanted to put that out there to let people know that it's so many different things that can help you win a game or ways.
Coaching, sports, and like I said, it can really, really put a lot of structure in your life. And like I said, I know every day when I think about what I'm going to do is based on what I was taught as a player and a referee. I can't go out and do some of the things that people do. I just can't do it. I won't do it. And I talk to I used to tell my kids the same thing. Now I'm telling my grandkids the same thing. You can't do that.
Right.
And like you said, the best thing I ever heard from my son is when I took him down to college and dropped him off down in Atlanta, and he went to college. And I called, and I would say, hey, you need anything? I'm good. Wait, hold on. You're a college student. You need something.
That's right.
They're like, you want to do this? So I'd send them, I'd send them money, this and that. What else you need? Dad, I'm good. I'm like, what's going on? He said, Dad, you told me, you taught me how to say, I got to do this, I got to do that. I work hard for what I'm working hard for, what I'm doing.
Wow.
I'm like, good.
That
And
made
then,
you
like
feel
said,
great.
And then when he got out of school, he's in his lower mid 30s now, and he's the same way. I don't have to worry about. I never had to worry about him getting in trouble, and that's and I will tell you that's probably the
scariest.
the most
It is
in this
man.
day, and so to have that and not to have be a burden on your mind, it was relieving.
You know, I tell my kids, man, I tell my sons, I say, listen, just like it's about 3 seconds of time that you go through when you say, okay, I know if I do this, it's going to be wrong. So what do you choose? You choose the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You just don't do it.
And it's funny that you picked 3 seconds, because I told him a 3 seconds decision can cost you 30 seconds,
Absolutely.
30 years of your life.
Absolutely.
If you say that, and that's exactly what and to have that and not to have to worry about that, then it's great.
Well, I can attest to that. Yeah. So, we won't, things happen and you get over hurdles, but
and you do.
You're exactly right. It takes in that anybody can walk into the wrong situation. You might not have nothing to do with it, but the law says you was there or you saw it and you want help, and here you go. But again,
we're gonna go ahead.
But again, we're here with the line open. We have Lamont Simpson with us, 248-579-5260.
What we wanted to talk about, Lamont, is on our program, we love to talk about showing the parents and the kids with brand new scholarships. See, like when your child gets most of the time, if your child gets a scholarship, it's more than likely it's always the first child. And then the parents and the kids don't know exactly what they're going into. We just think that, okay, my child got a scholarship. He's going to play football or basketball. We're going to go watch the games. And then he's going to graduate. And that's it.
And they go into the NFL.
And they go, and they go to the next level, and everything's going to be gravy.
Right.
But the majority of the time, it doesn't work that way. Can you elaborate on that?
No, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I mean, as an official, you can you see what players are, how good players are, and but the thing about college is in recruiting, hey, they're recruiting to be the best of whatever they do. They're recruiting to win the conference tournaments, win the championships, win the NCAA final or whatever it is. And the only way you do that is you have to have the best players. football. You can probably have, as a recruiting thing, like you say, your kid might be a 4-star in high school,
Right.
but guess what? They're recruiting 4 stars in 5 different states. They're recruiting a 5-star somewhere.
Right.
And I mean, there's a reason why these teams are consistently good as they are, because they got probably 3 or 4 deep 4-star, 5-star players sitting there. So how do you get playing time? Perfect example is the kid from Alabama who just transferred to Oklahoma.
Right.
Hey, before
He won the national
he
championship
won
as a
that-
freshman.
and then next
He
thing you
can't
know,
get
he's-
on the field.
He can't get on the field. I mean, that's it. So it's nothing wrong to going to a school where there's probably recruiting you, and you're going to get recruiting time. Do you have to go to? I mean, if you're getting if you're getting recruiting from Michigan, and are you going to get on the field?
Right.
Hey, who knows?
That's my
I don't
thing.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but like I said, the bottom line is sometimes hey, you might want to
Look at the
chose to
Eastern
go to
or
a
Western.
another
Exactly.
school. Where you can, guess what? They turn these guys, the NBA and NFL and major, they turn over the rocks everywhere to find players. They'll find them right out. There's guys in the NBA. I mean, not the NBA, but the NFL that came from Division II schools. And they'll find them.
Yeah, that's what I say. If you're on the field, they'll find. There's one thing about it: if you're on the field, no matter what school you are, they will find you.
Right.
But I tell you what, you sitting on the bench at a major school, there's nothing they can do.
No, because you don't have no film.
Yeah.
One thing I tell all of my friends who have kids that's going to college, I tell them, don't get caught up and getting upset about you not the starter or I'm not getting enough time. It's other ways that you can affect the game in football and basketball and baseball, lacrosse, whatever you may be playing. And I tell all of my friends, if it's football, tell them to get on special teams, because long as you get on film, they go see your ability and they go see you make some plays. You go make some plays.
Right.
Same thing with basketball. If you ain't the number one option, be like Dennis Rodman. He come from NEO. Rebound, take a charge, hustle and jump for balls, and do all of this different stuff.
And guess what? He's in the Hall of Fame right
He's
now.
a Hall of Famer, absolutely.
Exactly.
So it's
I mean, like I said, it's so different today. These kids. I mean, I was watching some games yesterday at this camp in Indianapolis, AAU tournament. These kids are 15, 16 years old. They jumping out of the gym and this and that. I'm like, we couldn't do that back then. We just this kid was standing still. He caught the ball and just went. I'm like, that's crazy that he's doing
right.
it. So, like I said, the competition is better out there, and like I said, hey, like I said, how do you get to those schools? And the first thing first. Number one, you're going for education.
Right.
So, if hopefully that if you can, even if you don't get on the field, get your education. And you can get an education at a mid-major just like you can at a power conference. So we'll go from there.
absolutely,
Yeah. So.
absolutely, and that's really good information to know that kids, it's open. HBCUs. Division II, everybody was caught up. We were helping some kids just this past year after the signing date. They were concerned about, I didn't get a big-time call. Sometime your calling is not at a big-time school. You got to go and show up and show out wherever you called to go and wherever they paying for them 4 years at.
Right, exactly.
So, if you can get in and get them 4 years paid for it and you take care of business, it's going to be monumental to you later on in life.
That's right.
Now, Lamont, you've been around the game of basketball for many years now. Okay, we're going to flip it a little bit. I want you to put your GM hat on.
Okay. All right.
Fix the Pistons. What's wrong?
Fix them?
Yeah. What's wrong? Fix the Pistons for us.
I don't know. It's like I think that over the years, it's like you just have to have consistency. And number one, you got consistency in coaching. You got a really good coach here right now. So
Yeah, he is a really good coach.
really good coach. And then it comes down to getting the players and putting the product that the fans want to see. It takes a little bit of winning to do that. It takes facilities to do that. To build a team.
Where's your scouting at? Scouts.
You got scouts everywhere. You just gotta. You get the right. This comes out the right. You get that right guy, and you're gonna get there. I mean, like you said, I'm not sure where they're drafting this year, but like you said, you have to get in that position to get that player. It'll take 2 to 3 good players.
Go ahead, Lamont, and tell the truth. They set us back some years hiring Van Gundy as the head coach and the GM. If the coach now if he had Harris and Caldwell Pope and the other guy, he would have something to work with. With them, Van Gundy just messed us up, man.
Listen, man, he missed 2 years in a row taking Stanley Johnson and this other
That's
kid.
what I'm saying.
He missed on Booker and the kid from Utah.
Yes.
What's his name? The kid from Utah.
The guard?
Yeah.
From played in
number 45, yeah.
Yeah.
He missed on those two
the
years
guy,
in a row, man.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, he missed on those guys 2 years in a row, man. So.
See, that's why I said that's why I'm a referee, because I ain't no GM. If I had all the years of being a GM, then I could fix that for you. But that's why I said I'll leave the GM stuff to the GM.
That's right. That's right.
I can fix a call. Now I can
say you can break that down,
right,
my man.
So,
okay, well, we have Davis giving us the wrap-up sign. We have about 3 minutes.
Before you go, like I said, I was just wanted to make sure that I tell you guys, everybody out there, like I said, officiating is a great opportunity for you to be involved with sports. If especially for players, if like I said, every player is not going to the NBA.
That's a fact.
Everybody not going to the NFL. So if you want to stay involved with the sports, look into, maybe you might want to be an official. I have the phone number here from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. It's 517-332-5046, or just look up mhsaa.com and you can register as official. There's plenty of information on there. Trust me. Like I said, if you work hard at it, you never know. That might be the way you can stay involved in sports. As I was telling the gentleman, Ryan and Bernard earlier, hey, I can't tell you the last time I had to pay to go to a sporting event, but the main thing is the people, brotherhood, and the people that I've met and the place that I've gone. It's a very good, but you have to understand, you have to put the work in for it, but it can really pay off for you.
Repeat that number one more time, Lamont.
Michigan High School Athletic Association, 517-332-5046, or mhsaa.com. You click on officials, and it says register, and then that's the way to get started.
I have a couple questions that I want to ask you, just to wrap up questions. But before I do that, I want to tell everybody a cool story about Lamont and I that no one probably doesn't even know. Lamont and I played semi-pro baseball together, about 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he and we were the cleanup hitters.
Right.
I hit fourth and he hit fifth, or was it third and fourth?
Something like third and fourth.
Yeah, I hit third and he hit fourth. We were the cleanups. Isn't that a cool story, man?
A lot of RBI.
That's
yes.
Wait a minute.
That's a cool story,
and
man.
What's bigger than that? Y'all coach lived across the street from me, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
But here's the questions that I want to ask you, Lamont. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, at this moment right now, what is your favorite food? Now, it doesn't have to be your favorite of all time, but I'm just saying, what's your favorite food right now at this moment that you just can't get enough of?
I like lamb chops. I like grilled lamb chops.
Oh, okay.
I'll go and give me some lamb chops and season them. I've been waiting for the snow to get off the deck.
That's right. Can't wait.
Okay, second question. What is your guilty pleasure? What food is this? He's like, man, I know I ain't supposed to be eating this, but
Cheez-Its.
Right.
Okay.
double bag from Costco.
Right. He's
Right.
in a double bag.
Okay, because I'm gonna do you too, Nard, and I'm gonna do
All right.
myself as well.
All right.
Third question is favorite sports movie.
Oh man, I would probably say Space Jam. And it
Really?
and it wasn't because you knew I was in there. I mean,
I didn't
found
even
it
know you. I got to
just
see
to
that.
sit there and watch it and watch it with my kids, and that was pretty cool.
Wow.
That was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Last question. What is your pet peeve? Just something that you just say, you know what?
Being on time.
Okay.
My man.
All right.
It's like
My man.
we have to be at games an hour and a half before game time, and sometimes you're in a place where you and your partner are going to meet at. You say 5:50. Let's meet here at 5:15.
Okay.
At 5:20, I'm out.
Right.
Right.
You can't call me and say, Lamar, I'll be there in 10 minutes. 5:15.
Right.
The game starts. We have to be there. So
Right. Absolutely.
Pet peeve, you got to be on time.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay, we're gonna hit you with these, Bernard, because you and I haven't done them as well.
Right.
Favorite food at this moment?
Well, my favorite food, just because we got to wrap up, I like pasta. I love shrimp Alfredo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second question, your guilty pleasure, food.
Wow, my guilty pleasure is cheesecake brownies. Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay. Third question, favorite sports movie.
My favorite sports movie is Remember the Titans with
Yeah.
my man Denzel.
Okay.
And at the end, he tell my man, "You're a Hall of Famer in my book."
Okay. Last question, your pet peeve.
I would like to say my pet peeve in coming up and just getting in the mix and enjoying just being around it and the camaraderie of playing. It's got to be being on time. My coach always told me you have to look the part, and most of all, you have to be on time and be before time to be on time.
Okay.
right.
Y'all pet peeves are totally different from mine, but anyway, for me, favorite food at this moment, it's got to be the Jersey Mike subs, man.
Right.
Man, right now, that's just. Second is guilty pleasure, potato chips. I just can't stop eating them. Favorite sports movie, Rudy, with just Rudy.
Charles Dutton.
Yeah. And pet peeve is seeing women at the market with pajama pants on.
Ah, that's no good.
Man.
Right.
But we have to wrap up. It's been a great show, everybody. Thanks for the callers that called in. Lamont, thank you for showing up, brother.
Yeah,
so glad
thanks
to
for
be here.
being
So
Lamont.
glad to
Yes.
see hanging with you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
This is the
Howard.
4's Hardcore Sports Talk Show. We're going to be going off the air. Thank you for next week. Our guest is going to be Lindsey Mason III, and we're going to talk about golf, and we're going to talk about Tiger Woods and golf in the city. So everybody get their popcorn ready, and everybody get the number, 248-579-5260. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.